Now, let's move on to Unit 5, Lesson 1. Lesson 1, that is intercepts and zeros of rational function. So our objectives, we have to correctly solve the intercepts and zeros of rational functions, then correctly solve problems involving the intercepts and zeros of rational function. So, rational function, it is a function in the form of r of x equals f of x over g of x, where f of x and g of x are both polynomials, and g of x should not be equal to 0. For example, we have the rational function f of x equals x squared plus 3x plus 2 over x plus 3. Intercepts of rational functions. It refers to the intersection of the graph of a rational function to the x and y axis. In the function f of x equals x plus 4, in the function which is f of x equals x plus 4 over x squared minus 4, its x-intercept is negative 4, 0. Y negative 4, 0, and its y-intercept is 0, negative 1. Okay, to find the x-intercept, we will remember that f of x is also a y. So we will make f of x into 0. So we will substitute f of x to 0 so that the left behind is the x variable. So we will find the x-intercept man, so we will find the value of x. So if this is 0, that will be 0 equals x plus 4 over x squared minus 4. Okay, assuming that is x squared, x squared minus 4. So since this is rational equation, why rational equation? Because we have rational algebraic expression and we also have the equal symbol, so that's rational equation. So we have to cross multiply them. So we have this one, this is 0, this is 0, so cross multiply 0 times x squared minus 4, and then x equals x plus 4, so that becomes 0 times x squared minus 4. Remember that any number multiplied by 0 is 0, so that will be 0 equals, then remember if we will make the 0 into fraction, that will become 0 over 1. So in other words, this is 0 over 1. So we are done multiplying, cross multiplying 0 times x squared minus 4. Next, we will going to multiply x plus 4 over x plus 4 times 1. So any number multiplied by 1 is the number itself. So in other words, that will be x plus 4 equals 0, because 0 times x squared minus 4, that's 0. Then x is transpose here, so that becomes negative 4. That is why this is x man, so our x-intercept is negative 4. This is x and this is y. So if we say intercept, meaning the partner is 0, I mean either, well, for example, x-intercept, so our x is negative 4 and then the partner must be 0. And our y-intercept, if y becomes 0, therefore if we look for y-intercept, the x should become 0, or the x is also equal to 0 to find y or f of x. So we will substitute here to 0. So this becomes, remember f of x is also y. So y equals, so x plus 4 becomes 0 plus 4. So we will let x equal 0. So that is 0 plus 4 over 0 squared minus 4. Then 0 plus 4, that is 4. and then over 0 times 0, 0 squared is 0 times 0, that is 0, then minus 4, so that is 4 over negative 4, 0 minus 4, that is negative 4, or 4 divided negative 4, that is negative 1. So that is why our y-intercept is negative 1. So remember, this is x should come first before y. This is x, this is y. So our y, as you can see, that is negative 1. Next, zeros of rational functions. It refers to the value of x that would make the function equal to 0. For example, the zeros of the rational function are x equals negative 1 and x equals 7. These are zeros daw. Why? Because if we substitute x equals negative 1 and x equals 7, remember this is trinomial, we can factor if it is trinomial. So the factored form of x squared minus 6x plus 7, that is x, since our middle term is negative 6x, so it should be, our factored form is x plus 7 times x minus 1. So positive 7 times negative 1, that is negative 7. 7 times x, that is 7x, positive 7 mani, and then x times negative 1, that is negative x. So we have 7x over 7x minus 1, that is positive 6x. So that is not the factored form. In other words, our factored form is not x plus 7 but x minus 7, since our middle is 6x man. So we have x minus 7 times x plus 1, because negative 7 times x, that's negative 7x, and x times 1, that is positive 1x. So negative 7x minus positive 1x, that becomes negative 6x, which is correct. So the factored form is again x equals x minus 7 and x plus 1. So now, why is it that they are zeros? Because we are going to equate them to 0. That is why x minus 7 becomes x equals 7. Find the value of x. We will equate them to 0, and then x equals negative 1. So why? Because it makes the rational function 0. If we will substitute x plus 7 times x minus 7 rather, x minus 7 times x plus 1, and then we substitute it to 0. We substitute these values, which is x equals negative 1. So that means x minus 7, that means negative 1 minus 7 times negative 1 plus 1. This is from the factored form. So negative 1 plus 1, that is 0. 0 times negative 1 minus 7, that is negative 8. So 0 times negative 8, that is 0. So it makes the rational function zeros. In other words, x equals negative 1 and x equals 7 are the zeros. Next, determine the zeros of a rational function. If we determine, we have to find the factored form of the numerator, no? Since this is difference of two squares, so our factored form is x plus 3 times x minus 3. This one, x plus 3 times x minus 3. Then equate them to 0. So x plus 3 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0. That becomes x equals negative 3, x equals 3. So it makes the numerator 0 if we substitute here. So the x equals negative 3 and x equals 3 will make the rational function 0. It's very simple. You just need to factor the numerator and then find the value of x, and then that will be your 0. Even though you will equate the denominator into 0 and then solve for x, it doesn't matter. For example, this one, x squared minus x minus 2, that is x minus 2 times x plus 1, the factored form. Then if we equate to 0, that becomes x equals negative 1, x equals 2. Then if we substitute here, that still cannot be equal to 0. Okay, if we substitute here, it can't be equal to 0. So 2 squared is 4 squared minus 2 minus 2. 4 squared minus 4, that's 0. But since we are going to look for 0, so do not just find the value of x in the denominator, only the numerator, because our main topic here is zeros of the rational function. So only the numerator that makes the fraction or the function 0. This is our conclusion. Thus, the zeros of the given rational function are x equals negative 3 and x equals 3. Next example, determine the intercepts of the rational function. Again, if we determine the intercepts, to find the x-intercept, we will let f of x equal 0. To find the x-intercept, to find the y-intercept, we will let x equals 0. For example, here, this 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 4 terms. So we are going to group the 4 terms so that it will be easy to solve. So from 3x minus 3x squared minus 4x plus 12, we will equate them to 0 by factoring them. For example, the x cubed minus 3x squared, we will group this 1 as 1, plus group this one also, the negative 4x plus 12. Why we should have grouped this? Because we can see a common. We have variable x and we also have x here, and the other side we also have a common, which is 4 and 12. So 4 can be divided as 4, 12 can be divided as 4. In other words, that we will get the simplest form of 4 and 12. So now the simplest form of them is 4, meaning to say we can divide the 4 and 12 by 4. So we will take out negative 4, then we will put inside the parentheses the factored form, or the other factored form of negative 4. For example, negative 4 times x, that's negative 4x, negative 4 times negative 3, that's positive 12. So we will look for the factored form here inside the parentheses, which is negative 4x plus 12, same as this one. So the factored form here is x squared times x minus 3. Then the x squared outside the parentheses and the negative 4 outside the other parentheses, we will combine them. That is why we have x squared minus 4. Then x minus 3 and x minus 3 are common, so we will just copy. Do not put 2x minus 3 since they are common, so only one binomial to put. So as you can see, we have x minus 3 only, and then times x squared minus 4. Again, x squared minus 4 comes from here, the first factor of x cubed minus 3x squared, and the negative 4 comes from here, the first factor of negative 4x plus 12. Why do you say first factor, ma'am? This x minus 3 is the second factor, and the first factor is the x squared, meaning to say x squared times x is x cubed, x squared times negative 3, that's negative 3x squared, and same as this one. Now, we will factor the x squared minus 4 because this is difference of two squares, meaning to say 4 is a perfect square, and also the x squared. So if we square root them, that square root of 4, that is 2, and then square root of x squared, that is x. So that is why we will use negative positive in factoring the difference of two squares. So the formula is x minus 2, x plus 2. As long as there is positive negative, if they are difference of two squares, then this is our form, x minus 2, x plus 2. Then equate them to 0. So this x cubed minus 3x squared, that comes from the numerator, and we will find out the 0. So in other words, this 3 binomial, if we equate to 0, that will be our zeros. In other words, x equals 3, x equals 2, and x equals negative 2 are the zeros of this function given. Okay, this one. Since they are all x values, so we will put them as an x-intercept. Determine the x-intercept man di ay ta. X-intercepts are the given rational function are negative 2, 0, 2, 0, and 3, 0. Then, so inani din siya. If we have the zeros of the rational function, they are also our x-intercepts. Okay? Then, to find y, aside from let f of x equals 0, to find the value of x for our rational function, we can also use the zeros of rational function. The one like what I did, factored form, the regroup, and then find its factored form, and then regroup again, and then factored form, and then the values of x. So in finding the y-intercept, we will let x equal 0. So you can see from x cubed becomes 0 cubed because let x equals 0, so that we can find the f of x or the y values. So our y values, if we all substitute all the x here, that is 3. So the y-intercept in interval or in ordered pair, we will put this as 0, 3. This is x, and this is x, and this is y. So y-intercept man, so our number should be in the right side. Again, our number, this is x and this is y man in an ordered pair. Ordered pair meaning x comes first, comma, then y. So our y is in the right, then our x is in the left. So in other words, y is 3.